Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Let's get back to Iraq because there is a lot of talk about the election as well as, the rate change still being spoken about. Before we get started, hit the thumbs up button because when you do, it helps us get past the algorithm that YouTube puts on us and keeps us from being shadow banned. If you're not a subscriber, please do so because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. The disclaimer here is I'm not a financial advisor, a lawyer, or an accountant. The information that I share with you, I do freely. It is of my own opinion. Hey folks, just a quick reminder that back in 2008 and 9, a lot of people lost all of their retirement savings and their 401ks and IRAs because they did not own gold and silver. Yeah, that's right. Gold and silver protects you from a market crash. So do yourself a favor, protect your retirement by purchasing gold and silver. You can go to moneymetals.com, reach out to them, and they will help you set yourself up to protect you and your family from having to start all over from scratch. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they will send along with your order a free half ounce of silver. So folks, do yourself a favor, head on over to moneymetals.com and protect you and your family from a market crash, as well as inflation. That's right, head on over to Money Metals when you want to buy gold and silver. Keep in mind, if you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. Hey, right now, a special offer for my audiences only. You have a chance to win 100 free American Silver Eagles. That's over $3,000 in value. And all you have to do is enter your email to win. That's it. That's right. There's no obligations to purchase. The link is down below in the description. So head on over there. Enter to win. You have between now and December 31st of this year to enter. The only way you can for sure not win 100 silver American Eagles is by not entering at all. So do yourself a favor and enter your email so you have a chance to win. For those of you looking for my address, there it is right here. As everyone is aware of an alternative website, the link is down below in the description. Over here I post original content as well as other videos that have been banned from YouTube. It costs $3 a month to join for unlimited access, and all proceeds go to finding life's purpose. So come on over there and join us. Beware of scammers. That's right. People posing and pretending to be me. How you can tell us apart is real simple. If you post a comment and I respond, you will see a dark circle around my name. See this? It's either gray or black. I won't be sending you to WhatsApp, and I won't be sending you to Telegram or Telegraph or anything like that, nor would I be asking you for money. From time to time, I will be using material that's considered copywritten. I post this just to show that I am exercising my fair use rights. Okay, so there's a lot of news, a ton of it to go through, but the truth of the matter is a lot of these articles have a habit of just repeating themselves. The United Nations Security Council, we support the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Iraq. This is big. One of the biggest steps towards Iraq being able to really, truly revalue their currency is they have to be a sovereign nation. The reason why their currency was devalued was out of punishment. So once they're recognized as a sovereign nation again, and they're doing everything possible, and I showed you guys already what the definition of a sovereign nation is. They have to be able to make their own decisions without asking for permission. So the United Nations was assigned to be the babysitter of Iraq. So the United Nations Council is saying that, hey, we support the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Iraq. This is big. We want them to. So this is a long article, but basically it's just covering the elections. Went very good, in their eyes, anyways. It says Monday, the United Nations Security Council affirmed its support for the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Iraq, while expressing its aspirations to form a representative Iraqi government. So in the statement to the news, the members of the Security Council welcomed the report of the Secretary General on the election process in Iraq and the assistance of the United Nations, let's put it this way, it's UNAMI, to the process, pursuant to Resolution 2576. and the members of the Security Council welcomed the positive evaluation of the observers, international elections in the United Nations Assistance Mission, blah, 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 blah. The point being, they're saying that everything went good, and they're looking forward to the government being formed. Now, there are a couple of little hurdles. It says right here, in the face of the dynamic security challenges, they acknowledge the role of the United Nations assistance in its mission in Iraq in supporting the efforts of the Iraq government and the commission to plan and implement free and fair elections led by the Iraqis. So it goes on to talk about how it went pretty much without a hitch. That's what you want. They also spoke out against and condemned the assassination attempt against the Prime Minister al-Kadhimi, and said that all grievances should be settled peacefully, using the political process, using the legal process. Explaining that the members of the Security Council expressed their regret the use of violence to resolve election-related grievances, urged all political parties to pursue legal and peaceful means to resolve their grievances, condemned the attempts to discredit the election, and members of the Security Council, encouraging all stakeholders to respect a legally defined process and facilitate a peaceful and independent judicial review of the election process. So they're going through it right now. There are no more protests at the moment. We know the audits are going through. So the audits so far, from what I can tell, for the most part, all of them are looking pretty good with a couple of exceptions. You definitely don't, if you find one that's wrong, I'm telling you, people are going to use that as an excuse for all the other seats. Before the formation of Baghdad's government, the two largest parties in Kurdistan region are moving to unify the discourse. So yeah, they're teaming up with Sadr because the framework continue to add people to the group, trying to surpass the number of people that support Sadr so they would take control of formative government. It looks like it's a shoo-in for Sadr. And so Maliki and them are having their problems with Sadr appointing the government because they really don't want al-Kadhimi in there. They know Sadr is going to go after Maliki. But it looks like an agreement might have been struck. Anyways, the people over in Kurdistan are siding with, despite the Kurdistan Democratic Party, by the way, siding with Sadr. So you have both Barzani and Talabani teaming up. The meeting also confirmed the desire of the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan and the Democratic Party for unity and an emphasis on harmony within the Kurdish house. So they're going to make sure Sadr gets his government. They're going to do whatever it takes to fight Maliki and their moves to try to overtake the number of seats so they could control who gets in government. This is what I'm talking about. 8 of them do not match. The commission ends the counting of polling stations for the 6th district in Baghdad. So all of them, for the most part, match, with the exception of 8 stations. So the people who did the recounting have put together their report and forwarded it to the commission. We'll see what happens from there. Al-Kadhimi's office sets a working mechanism for international anti-corruption agreements. He's still moving forward, still kicking butt. Said in this statement by the news, the commission stated that the office of the Prime Minister confirmed that this directive comes within the frameworks of the efforts and endeavors of the Republic of Iraq to combat corruption, and in line with the contents of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, to which Iraq joined under the Law 35 in the year 2007. The directives, it's so crazy. This thing passed in 2007. It's just now being implemented. That's al-Kadhimi doing what he can to get rid of corruption. The directive in coordination with the commissions comes from being the official body concerned with representing Iraq in the United Nations conventions and the contents of the provisions of its effect of Law 30 of 2011, as amended, and in order to unify efforts aimed at strengthening cooperation between the state institutions and the relevant authorities to avoid confusion and to avoid conflict. After being accused of rigging the election, Khazali receives Miss Blackheart. This is the United Nations representative for Iraq. She's being accused of helping rig this election. So she went face to face. That's how you know you're badass. She went face to face to meet with the people who are accusing the United Nations and her of rigging this election. Says the Al-Fatah alliance, to which the leader pointed the finger at the representative of the Security General of the United Nations in Iraq by exploiting her position to stir up chaos and change the results of the elections. The leader of the, I'm not going to even try to pronounce it, said that what is happening in Iraq is an international project under the auspices of Janine Blacksheart. So they are accusing her, and she went there to settle this. The statement stated that Khazali presented in detail a set of evidence of the fraud and flagrant manipulation that accompanied the election. So they're laying out what they believe to be evidence. So it is being looked into. We'll see what the results are. Expectations of financial abundance. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. Once we get to 2022, if they're going to keep the exchange rate at where it is, they should have a huge surplus, and most of that should go to the private sector to build more jobs. They get Iraq more and more off the dependency of oil. So, expectations of financial abundance and the disappearance of the deficit in 2022. A member of the Parliamentary Finance Committee in the former Parliament expected the financial abundance of 2022 financial budget due to the rise in oil prices. Yep, there's a financial abundance that has been achieved and the possibility of improving the economic situation due to the increase in oil prices. Yes, that's what I was saying. So far, Iraq has not resorted to borrowing, whether external or internal, and is at the end of the year. So far, so good. There is a full financial coverage, meaning that there is no financial deficit until now. The government has fulfilled its full financial obligations towards its citizens, and there are expectations that the price of a barrel of oil will stabilize at the rate of $80, and they're only budgeting for like 50 or 55, so that kicks butt. This is how it used to be in the United States. Check this out. So banks in Iraq are offering a certificate of deposit with the annual interest rate of 6.5%. You don't see that no more around here. So just for keeping your money in the bank, you can earn 6.5% per year. I'll take it. The Iraqi Stock Exchange participated in the activities with the European Union. No big deal. They just wanted to make sure that they are in connection with one another and that the banking software that they're using is all lined up and there's no issues. It's just a long article about that. I told you this is all part of that New World Order movement. They're making sure that all the banking sectors are connected to each other around the world. We're talking about the central banks. Announcing a gradual recovery, finances issues an important statement on the Iraqi economy and the dollar exchange rate. The Ministry of Finance justified its adoption by raising the exchange rate of the dollar to supplement national production, protect the reserves of the Central Bank of Iraq, and support the budget. So again, we keep seeing articles of them justifying why it is they devalued the dinar even more. And they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. I think that's why you're seeing poor people go, look, you got what you wanted and you got it quickly. Why are we still on a devalued currency? So the Ministry of Finance has borne the burdens of its stifling financial crisis during the past 3 years that threatened the state's ability to fulfill its obligations that were already burdened by the burdens of a large legacy represented by the inflation of the public spending rate and the rise in the wage bill, which threatened the assurance of salaries of its employees. Remember, we had people creating fictitious employees so they get multiple payments, and they got audited, got caught. That should be down. Not only that, they kept raising every year the salary rates to unbelievable levels, faster and higher than they'd done before. That's because there's too much corruption involved. In light of the sharp drop in oil prices and the dangerous health situation dealing with the RONA, so they were hit with a double whammy. I mean, oil prices dropped, and then we seen the RONA come out, and it really just killed them. So they had no choice but to devalue their currency. So it goes on to say that ever since they devalued the dinar, they've been able to accomplish a lot. It really gets into details. Iraq is one of the most oil-dependent countries in the world. Over the past decade, oil revenue has accounted for more than 99% of its exports, 85% of the government budget, and 42% of the GDP. An excessive dependence on oil that exposes the country to macroeconomics fluctuations. Yeah, they needed to start developing the private sector. And that's being done. What this means is they need to continue doing what they're doing. And then we're going to start seeing, in my opinion, the dinar go up in increments. Nice little chunks at a time. Not too tiny, though. And here they are making a recommendation that I think is a little too small. But they know what they're doing over there. I get what they're trying to do. Paying off your debt with cheaper value dollars is better than paying it off with more value dollars. After sending all appeals to the judiciary, the commission, there is no tampering with the election results. Although they found some discrepancies, they're saying there's no tampering that they could find so far. The Iraqi government justifies the reasons for adopting a new exchange rate for the dollar. Again, this is what I'm talking about. It's just going through explaining why it is they devalued the Iraqi dinar. The Iraq Ministry of Finance clarified the reasons for adopting a new exchange rate of the US dollar against its local currency, noting that this came to supplement the national production, protect the central bank's reserves, and support the budget. So we all know, and I said this, that whenever they devalue the dollar, it always affects the poor because they got less purchasing power. And that's the thing that they keep focusing on here. In a previous statement, the Iraq Minister of Finance issued on the 5th of the last October a clarification regarding the exchange rate to the US dollar, noting that changing it worked to stop the fulfillment of reserves. We know this enhanced import capabilities. The indication showed, according to the finance statement, a clear improvement in commercial activity in the past 9 months of the current year, 2021, in light of the crisis of the spread of the RONA. And it also helped to stop the penetration of the Iraqi market and flooded it with cheap goods. So anyways, it goes on to say what the rate is, and we know this. For every $1, you got 1,450 dinars. You got to love this. Iraq, there is no alternative to al-Sadr and Maliki's agreement to resolve the position of prime minister, and al-Kadhimi's chances are strong as a settlement candidate. Yep, but we'll take al-Kadhimi again. So basically, Maliki and Sadr are not budging. Sadr's going to go after Maliki. There's no doubt about it. They want al-Kadhimi in there. He's had the blessing of all parties. We're going to see what happens. But remember, al-Kadhimi is on Maliki's hate list. What the hell would you put out a hate list for, idiot? So it just goes on to talk about how each one continues to try to gather more seats to put into their particular group so they can try to control the government. And Sadr's not budging at all. He's forging straight ahead and doesn't care what anybody says. That guy means business. We're going to see where this all turns out. It's a long article talking about all the chess moves that each person's making to make sure they get what they want. But it doesn't look like Maliki is going to win in this case. So the attack on al-Kadhimi's life, they ruled out Iran. Al-Kadhimi's advisor reveals Iraq's position on its debt. So Saleh, the finance minister, made a statement to the news that the debts owed by Iraq were signed within the Paris Agreement in 2004, and it is among the debts of a former regime, and it is included more than $129 billion. A large number of these debts have been extinguished, and there are countries that have extinguished them by 100%. For example, the United States has extinguished its debts in full. Russia has extinguished 94%. Algeria completely extinguished debts. In other words, these people gave them debt forgiveness is what it is. So again, more articles on both Maliki and Sadr jockeying to make sure they are in control. So Iraq has increased their overall gold holdings. It used to be, where they at? Iraq, where you at, buddy? Says right here, Iraq's gold reserves amount to 96.4. I believe it used to be 95.4. So they have increased it. There's a lot of countries doing that. Because I can tell you right now what's going to happen. They're going to revalue gold. There's no way to avoid it. Demands to reevaluate the dinar. The government responds. It already said. Same thing as above. Look, we told you why it happened. Right now we're trying to build the private sector. It says, devaluing the Iraqi dinar in the 2021 budget has stirred the discontent of the public and economic and financial experts alike. In spite of the warning from its negative economic and social reverberation, the Iraq Minister of Finance ascribed to its breakthrough amid a stifling economic crisis that has struck the country. They accomplished what they wanted. There's no doubt about it. So the economist said that revaluating the dinar shall be contingent upon several factors. The exchange rate of the dollar should be gradually reduced to 1,300 dinars, while keeping an eye on the cash transactions to preclude creating a black market, dollar smuggling, and the tightening control over imports. Right now, I think in the beginning it's going to be small increments because they want to see how it affects the economy. So an increase. So we went from 1,190 dinars for every dollar to 1,450, which isn't good. We don't want the number to get bigger, we want it to get smaller. They're talking about meeting it halfway to 1,300 dinars. That might be more realistic and might happen, but I think this is what you're going to see. Increments, gradual increase, but a lot quicker than people think. As the economy continues to grow and they get rid of their debt and they become a sovereign nation, hopefully nothing sneaks in there like a terrorist group or anything like that. We don't want that to happen. So, neglecting the private sector, that's been going on for a long time. The government has not contributed to reducing the poverty gap and unemployment after raising the rate that inflicted all the strata of society. Its concern was how to pay the salaries of officials and ministers without considering the negative aspect of the devaluation. The government should have combated the widespread corruption in Iraq. We know that, but they're doing it now. There is no change or incidence that causes the exchange rate to change, the source said. The Ministry of Finance has confirmed this. Over the previous 9 months, the ministry has constantly followed the indicators of devaluation against the dollar. The exchange rate alteration has contributed to the rise in the central bank's foreign reserves to $60 billion from 54. According to the finance minister, the currency rate shift also helped reduce the demand for foreign currencies, lower the dependence on imports, and enhance local production. In the context of the crisis, there has been a clear recovery in corporate activity in the last 9 months. According to the ministry, it is working to reinvest the revenues of the funds achieved to build a target production base outside the oil sector and rely on other sectors, which will contribute to the decline in demand for the dollar as a result of compensating some of the goods produced. This is what we want. This is what they're supposed to be working on in the first place. So again, we got a lot of talk about the rate change. They're just justifying why they did what they did. But now they have to show some results. You can't just do that, screw over poor people without any kind of results. The truth of the matter is they are a rich nation and they're devalued because of what we did to them. They do need to figure out a way to lower the amount of currency in circulation, is the understanding. I did show you guys, I made a video, an article in which they claim 72% of the dinar was destroyed. So at least it gives us kind of an idea how much is out there in circulation. But again, it is a whole lot. Anyways, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.